I'm not lifting it. I'm keeping it
106.
No.
10. Delete.
All right. Our audience will never hear that part.
The Riff Raffs in harmony.
I have a note in my phone that's called Sketch Ideas. And it says, local news anchor sits on his balls during feel-good story. I don't even know what that means.
You did inspire me to now look up all my old sketch ideas.
Yeah. How is that a sketch? Why did I write that down 2 years ago?
My balls.
Yeah.
That's literally Al My Balls from Idiocracy.
Oh, yeah. But why is it during a feel-good story? Like, is the bit that he keeps bringing up how badly he sat on his balls during the feel-good story?
Or like how maybe he mentions that, I hope they feel good because I don't.
Yeah, right. He keeps bringing it back to his balls.
I'm talking about my balls.
Yeah.
I have
I can
this
go
is
through
just
that.
dialogue I've written here where it says, what are your intentions with my daughter?
Right.
And then the next line is the guy goes, I plan to fuck her.
Okay.
And then the next line says, well, goddamn, I was hoping you'd say that.
All right.
I guess I thought a lot of my sketch ideas I wrote down like, he'll know.
Yeah.
He'll know what I
I
meant.
do that too, yeah. I'm like, I don't have to write the rest of it.
Well, how about this? Nona Palooza. It's a bunch of Italian grandmas competing to see who can feed their own grandson the most food.
That's good. Maybe you do that as like a monster car rally commercial.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Sunday, a Sunday, a Sunday. Your Nona, she making a dinner.
Yeah.
She make a supper.
Yeah.
Come early. Make sure you wash your hands.
Yeah.
Featuring your cousin from overseas.
Yeah. Like, there are bits there.
Adam and Eve are arguing over some petty shit. Adam eats the apple out of spite and calls God to kick him out right after he eats the apple.
That's good.
Fuck it, I'm out. By the way, bitch, your titties are hanging out. I never noticed that till now. You're fucking gross. This is what I wrote. Oh, here's an idea. A guy who complains that he's lazy. And he's like, I wish I wasn't so lazy. And then somebody's like, you take that back. And he's like, who are you? And he's like, I'm the spirit of true laziness.
Yeah.
And he's there to, like, teach him that his laziness is a gift. A guy who thinks he's the man and is dunking trash every time he passes a garbage bin, but he keeps missing and not noticing.
I watched a video with this lady like walking around Comic-Con as like a cosplayer, you know, and she was like wearing like a dress or something, and she was wearing makeup and stuff, and like I think she thought she was like really hot, and she was fine, yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter. But then in the video, like this little girl runs up to her and goes like, "Oh my God, you're so pretty," and then the cosplayer says, "Yeah, well, you could be pretty too." She says that to that little girl.
That was like the time John Cena said, "You can't see me" to the blind kid.
Oh, shit. Yeah. I just thought it was so insane. And, like, none of the YouTube comments caught it. Like, it was not played as, like, a funny bit. Like, she literally told this little girl, you could be pretty, too. It's so wild.
Yeah, that's great. I love when shit like that happens.
Yeah.
How about this sketch where it's a guy and he invites his friends over to watch the game, and then when the friends get there, they find out he doesn't believe in owning seats.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, they're just like, where's your couch, man?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't got one.
Yeah. I don't believe in chairs.
I don't believe in chairs.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Why do you want to sit? Did you know it's actually worse than smoking, sitting down?
Yeah. 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 And then, like, wait, don't you smoke? Yeah. Why do you think I don't have
Yeah.
chairs?
Yeah, that's why I don't have chairs. You gotta compromise somewhere.
Yeah. Some bits there.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
I don't know where it goes though.
I don't know where it goes either. Like my brain goes to like he's a weird guy, and then it's like he doesn't have a bed either, and like why doesn't he have a bed? And then it's like, oh, he was a vampire the whole time, and he like stands in a coffin or something. I don't know. Yeah.
What if it just hard cuts to all of them like kind of like lounging around on the floor? Like they've gotten tired of standing, that they're all just kind of like they're doing like one like as if it's a sleepover, but none of them are happy about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and the tables are like too high as well.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they're all,
Yeah.
they have to like keep reaching up to put their drinks out.
Yeah, like a guy reaches for nachos and he spills like salsa all over himself.
Yeah.
And then the guy who owns the house, like jokingly, is just like, "Good one, Butterfingers." Like he's like he's having a great time.
Yeah.
Because there's no problem for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like I understand like not having chairs, but then why are your tables so high up? It's very funny.
He's like, "What are you talking about? That one has a ladder." Just have like a rope ladder on it.
Yeah. Tupac.
Oh, I had this idea. I don't know. This takes some writing.
Yeah.
But it's 4 guys, and they're each taking turns taking like a DMT trip. And the first 3 guys are like, they come back like, "I saw God. He told me this and whatever. And then the 4th guy comes back and he's like, "Yeah, Hitler wasn't wrong." And it's him being like, I can't explain it, but it's been shown. They explained it to me that it was actually what was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Also, what about
I thought where you were going was like God's light just touched me and warmed my heart, and he's like, yeah, dude, God like molested me. It was uncomfortable.
That's funny, but that's very similar to that SNL bit.
I know, I was thinking that too.
With the alien thing?
alien bitch, yeah.
How about this? Welcome to Kilos, the first official government-funded cocaine bar.
Why kilos?
Well, because like kilo of coke. Welcome to Kilos.
Government. Why is it government funded?
Well, because it's like the weed lounges.
Oh, gotcha.
But it's for
okay.
cocaine.
Yeah. Medical cocaine bumps.
Yeah, and like the most businesses started ever.
Yeah.
Dueling late night desks.
Yeah.
A sketch about Carlos Santana's rhythm guitarist being fed up with being overlooked. I'd be regarded as an amazing guitarist, too, if all I ever did was the solos. Come on, Juan. You don't mean that. Have you heard Black Magic Woman? He doesn't even keep time.
Yeah. I overheard this on a set I was on. This is a real thing that someone said. This was a set in Canada. The budget of this film was like a couple $100,000, really small, right? And the guy said, "I'll never direct an Avengers or a Star Wars because I care too much about those projects." I'm like, well, you never will for a lot of reasons, you fuck. What are you talking about?
Sex phone hotline in Middle Earth.
It's very brave that Carmen Sandiego came out as a lesbian, but if you ask me, it's pretty stupid that she did it in Taliban-controlled Afghanistan.
What's that from?
I wrote that. We talked about the sketch before. I think we should write it. I think it could be so fucking funny. A sketch where conjoined twins have 2 dicks, a micropenis and a hog. They fight over who has which.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. I feel like there's some funny things about that. Like
What
one
about
tiny
World's
dick, one
Biggest
giant.
Loser? The show World's Biggest Loser, but it's
Yeah.
called World's Fattest OnlyFans.
Okay. This note just
Oh,
says...
a mother takes her son to court over promises he made on home video when he was 2.
Yeah, we talked about that last time. Yeah. This just says in my notes, don't forget, whatever you do, do not start a podcast with Keith.
Is that what it says?
Yeah, I don't know why it says. I don't know why I would write that. That's very.
That's classic.
That old classic.
That old bit.
And then it says, "Don't believe his lies." Do you know what that's about? Don't believe his lies, Keith.
Don't believe
Keith's
the hype.
lies. Huh. All right.
There was a guy I used to work with. I don't even remember what his name was, but he only had one arm and it didn't matter in the slightest. He lost it. I think he lost it in a garbage truck. I think it was a garbage truck.
Yeah.
Took his fucking arm. And anyway, he
that arm was trash anyway.
I wonder.
Sorry.
In that scenario, when his arm got caught in the garbage truck,
Yeah.
were they like, "All right, I guess just keep it in there," or they're like, "We better fish that out and put it in a different garbage"?
Yeah. It's compost.
Because ultimately, like, where else is it gonna go?
Yeah.
What do you do
You
with
just
it?
hang around with this arm.
If you get your arm severed, what do they do with it?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off.
I just want to know.
But so he lost his arm in the garbage truck, and then what?
Oh, well, he was older. He was like older than I was. He was in his 40s when I met him. But so he lived like his whole life with the one arm thing.
Yeah.
And he worked at this restaurant with one arm.
Oh.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, that absolutely was not helping him.
Okay. He's just dropping shit left and right.
Well, just like,
you're like, well, it'd be rude.
it's
if we
hard to
fired
fucking
him.
cut shit when you got to hold the knife with one hand and then
Why am I laughing?
not
at this?
hold the thing you're trying to cut in the other. Good on him for fucking doing as well as he did, to be honest.
My
But
God.
he was like, he could drop wings. You know what I mean? He could do fryers
Okay.
and stuff like, and he could toss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but like, obviously he was slower because he only had the one hand.
Yeah.
But anyway, it didn't even matter. It's fine. He was a nice enough guy.
Yeah.
But he did this thing.
He keeps rolling up to tables trying to take notes. He's like, yeah, what else?
But anyway, he
I hope he never.
he'd
sees
always
this.
come in and he'd always be kind of sullen, and we'd be like, that was his name. We'd be like,
Don't say his name.
well, what if how many of the one-arm guys
Did you work with?
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, nobody's gonna fucking track him down. The only
Yeah.
thing I'm worried about is his hears this.
Okay.
But if he hears me talking about a one-arm guy,
Yeah.
he's gonna know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right, go ahead.
yeah.
Sorry.
But he was always like, and I'll make up a different name for this just so it's less specific. But he'd always come in and be upset because he had a son and an ex-wife, and I guess the son had hit an age where he was like 19, 20, so he started to be kind of unruly.
Yeah.
Like, he was at that age where he was like, I'm an adult now. And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
but you're still living at home. Like, go get your own place if you want to act like this.
Yeah.
Anyway, the kid kept doing shit where I think the kid got in trouble, like, with the law, and so he was on, not house arrest, but he had, like, a curfew.
Yeah.
So he had to be home by, like, 9:30, and comes into the restaurant one day, like, to start his shift, and I was like, what's up, man? Like, you seem sad. He goes, it's my son. He lied to me. And this is how he would talk, too. He lied to me. I was like, what did he say? He's like, he said he was staying at his mother's. He was over at his girlfriend's. And I was like, okay, that sucks. It sounds like a kid. He goes, you don't understand. He's on house arrest. He's not supposed to be out anywhere. He's supposed to be either at my place or his mom's. And then he goes, I told him, I said, son, there's two sides to every story. There's your side, their side, and the truth. And I'm like, that's three sides. Well, now I really don't want him to hear it.
Yeah. give out his last name so viewers can look him up.
I actually don't know his last name.
All right.
He was really into baseball cards, though.
Yeah.
And his social security number was. You know what's crazy? That restaurant, I was a kid. I knew for a fact there was a guy that was stealing from the tip out, from like the kitchen tip out, and they didn't believe me. And then I fucking apparently like 3-4 months after I had left that restaurant, that guy got caught like red-handed stealing from the tip out. Yeah.
Huh. I had a guy steal my tips once. It was at a convenience store. There's a guy I worked with, and I was like over the course of an hour, I had made like $5, which is like usually what you make in a shift at a convenience store.
Sure.
In tips. And he was leaving, and he was like pissed that he'd been working 8 hours and he didn't have any tips. And so we just reached in and grabbed all my tips. And like,
and he worked there?
He worked there.
So what'd you say?
Fuck? And I brought it up to my manager, and my manager's like, okay, well, how do you know how much money was in there? And I was like, I saw someone put a 5 in there. Like, that's like not fair. And so she ended up going to the till and pulling out a 5. And I'm like,
that's bullshit.
How does this solve anything? First of all, you're just stealing from the company to give me money. The guy's still hired because you don't want to deal with hiring a new guy. And I was like, yeah, just I don't want to deal with it. Like, don't ever put me on a shift with him. I don't like him now. And she never did, but he worked there for as long as I worked there.
Right.
Fucking insane, dude. Awful management.
Yeah, that's brutal.
What are you gonna do?
That happened to Kat at a job we used to work at.
Yeah.
There was a guy who kept fucking. He was stealing from her every time they worked together.
Yeah.
And it was, I don't know the exact logistics of how it was working out, but basically they would share a till because they both worked the bar, and so tips would go into a jar, and then they would split the tips in half at the point that the first person leaves.
Yeah.
But I think what he was doing was he was like taking money out of the till, putting it in the tip jar. So like what would end up happening is it would seem as though they're both splitting the money he's stealing.
Right.
But then she would owe at the end of the night because the money's missing from the till. So he was getting extra and she was paying for it.
Yeah.
And actually that's not even right because I think that means that she technically wasn't paying for it at all. That just means she wasn't getting the money she thought she should have been. But it was worse than that. I know it was worse than that. I just don't know the exact logistics. But he was straight up stealing from him to the point that they fucking caught him on camera doing it.
Right.
And they were in such a bad staff position that they just were like, what do you want us to do? We can't get rid of him. We don't have anyone to replace the hours.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's when Kat and I decided that we were like, all right, well, we're going to be quitting this place in the next fucking... And I think we quit like 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Even if it's not a lot of money, like... Those tips are.
No, the point of the problem is that it's like, yo, you thought you could just do that, which means you'll think you can do that when it's any amount of money.
Yeah.
There was a guy I remember one time I worked at a restaurant, and there was this kid. This one dude lost like $300 out of his fucking bag, and we were a pretty tight knit, like back of house. So, but we had some new hires recently, so we were like, we're pretty sure it's one of the new hires. There's no way it's gonna be one of the fucking original dudes, and it wasn't. But anyway, this one kid we ended up eventually realizing like it's got to be this guy. We just narrowed it down camera wise, I guess.
Yeah.
And so we sat him down and we were like, dude, like, come on, man, just tell us you took the money so we can get to the bottom of it. Like, where is the money, kind of thing. And he goes, I never took his money. The only he goes, I've never stolen from here. The only thing I've ever taken is cigarettes. And I was like, well, you just admitted to stealing. Like, it doesn't matter what you took, you idiot. I just thought, like, I'm sure in his head, he's probably thinking, like, a cigarette isn't that big of a deal.
Right.
But it's like, no, it's somebody else's property. That's the point of this. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
So we fired him over that.
Yeah.
Because we were like, all right, man, we can't prove you took $300, but you just told us you steal. Yeah. So we're going to fire you because we're pretty sure it was you anyway.
Right.
And he was under probation, so it didn't matter.
Yeah. At that convenience store job, at one point, I come into work one day, and the guy who's working there already, he's like, hey, dude, I made jungle juice. Do you want some? I'm like, what the fuck? Aren't we at work? And he's like, yeah, but who cares? Like, we're just drinking. I'm like, okay. I was 18 years old.
That's amazing.
To drink in California, at least, you need to be 21. And I just drank on the job one day, like 15 years ago.
I did that a couple times when I was younger, and I decided I didn't like drinking while I was working.
It was stupid. I had a headache after like 3 hours of working.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. Is I'm like, I don't want to work now.
Yeah, but this was my first job. I was freshly 18, and I was just like, oh, this is how normal jobs work. Like, I really.
Oh
thought that.
yeah.
I was really like, oh, sometimes people drink on the job, and that's okay. You know, like my brain was forming.
Yeah, like
still.
some people just have a couple drinks.
Yeah.
Like it's no, like as if it's a pop.
Yeah.
I could appreciate thinking that because I probably would have thought the same.
Yeah. And he was so open about it too, which was kind of mind blowing. And so many fucking conflicts of interest in hindsight. He was in his late 20s, and he was one of the assistant managers.
You know what? I had a union rep give me drugs once
There you go.
for the first time of me trying that drug.
Don't say the union never gave you nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that same guy fought for me because I got accused of stealing from that job and I didn't do it.
Yeah.
And that guy fought for me. He got me my job back if I wanted, but I already had a better job.
Yeah.
But he also got me a payout of like 3 months worth of wages because I shouldn't have never been fired to begin with.
Yeah. You only stole cigarettes.
Yeah, I only stole
Yeah.
a pack of smokes. No, some woman tried to claim that I took $20. She left her wallet at my till, and then she tried to claim that I took $20 out of her wallet. And the $20 that she said she was missing was the $20 she spent at my till.
Yeah.
So, like, we went through this whole rigmarole with, like, head office and stuff, and they came in to talk to me. But when they came in to talk to me, the union rep wasn't there, which was illegal at the time.
Yeah.
So their strike won. And then they eventually decided through, like, basically, I mean, they more or less just fucking bullied me in the office. And,
Yeah.
and then my union rep called me. He was like, why did you have that meeting without me there? And I was like, I don't fucking know. I'm 16.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And then he was like, all right, well, I did some looking into this, and it looks like the money that she claimed she lost was spent at your till. So, like, anyway, I'm going to file a claim and yada, yada. He files a claim. I ended up getting, like, fucking, like, $2-3 grand.
Oh, shit. Damn.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Being 16 and just randomly being told, like, a company fucked up and owes you $3 grand, too, is pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, fuck the system, bro.
It's too bad that was my favorite job, but
Yeah.
I had moved on.
This happened a lot at that convenience store job that I had. People would just come in and claim that I didn't give them the right change. And be like, yeah, you still owe me $10. Like, they'd leave, they'd come back, and they'd be like, yeah, you owe me $10.
Oh, buddy, it's too fucking late.
But it was total bullshit every time. I knew it was bullshit because I was very good with change, and I had a pretty good memory. And I'm like, no, I gave you the right change. I counted it out too. Like, I'm very good with this stuff. But it would happen. It happened like once a month, which is kind of weird.
I think, I mean, most grifts are just people trying to fucking see if you're actually paying attention.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's so funny too. Every once in a while, they'd be pretty good at it, where they're like trying to like do multiple things, and they're like, "Yeah, I can also get this," and like, "Oh, and here's the money, and then this, and then can I get my change?" And like, I want this. Like they would be intentionally very confusing, and every time I'd be like, "Okay, let's stop down. Okay, so you want this? Okay, cool. I'm not gonna take your money yet. Leaving your money that, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'd be very, very particular about that.
Yeah, I got hit hard with a quick change artist once.
They're fucking good, man. When they're good, like, they'll just take your shit, and it's so hard to stop it.
I don't remember how much it was. It was either $300 or $600 that I gave this guy.
Yeah.
It was I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I didn't think anything of it. The guy took the money and he moved on with his life. And then that day, so I was cashier, and basically at the end of your shift, you'd bring your cash to the back room, and then a manager you hand the cash over through a window. They would count it in front of you. Would count it, and then they would count it.
Yeah.
And so when I would count it, I wouldn't see what it's supposed to be. I would just count what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then give it to them. Then they would count it. Anyway, she's like, something's not adding up here. And I'm like, what? And she goes, you're out $600. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And as soon as she said it, I immediately thought of the guy that was like, all right, switch here. Can you just hold on? Well, wait, no, give me that back, and then I'll give you this, and
Yeah.
then we'll do this, and then I felt like such a fucking idiot. And then I also remember being like, so does this come out of my paycheck, or?
Yeah.
And she was like, no, but if it happens again, you're fired.
Yeah.
In America, you'd be fired. You'd probably.
It depends on the place.
You think so?
$600 is a lot though, but it depends. I would say most of the time yes, but still it depends. I've seen videos of them do that shit.
It's
like,
crazy.
I never had a guy that was that good with it.
It never happened again. I think a couple more people tried after that, but now I like kind of wised up.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I know. Like I've seen like there's like a guy who goes around Vegas and like just like fucks around with tourists, and then he ends up giving them all their money back. But he like shows how easy it is. He's like, yeah, here's $40 I just took from this person, and they don't even realize it.
right.
Because I tried to give him change and tried to do whatever, and like, yeah, and then he'll give it back and be like, by the way, I took this. I don't know if you noticed, but here you go. Like, here's your money back.
Right.
But yeah, it's so fucking crazy.
That's like
It's
the
just,
opposite of Scam City.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He gives it back, but yeah, I've never had a guy that was super good at it. It was always like a little clumsy, I would say, which is
Right.
why I probably sussed it out when it happened.
Yeah. Also, it's probably true that like the really good ones probably move on to higher tier crime.
Yeah, yeah, like convenience store, like. How much are you really gonna get? Like, if you're breaking change for 100 or something in America?
If you need it for an immediate thing, I can understand. You know what? Also, crime has evolved since, like, now that Wi-Fi and stuff exists, crime has evolved not just to get away with it easier, but also in regards to like the needs of criminals. Like back in the day, going into a convenience store doing a quick change thing like that probably lasts you for a fucking month.
Yeah.
Like one convenience store would give you a month's worth of groceries.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure. For sure.
It was a lot easier to be a grifter back then because the money you were stealing was worth more.
Yeah.
Whereas now, like petty change theft like that, it doesn't work. It doesn't mean as much.
Yeah.
I used to be like, not me, but in the early 1900s, let's say, a guy who steals a $10 note off somebody, that's a fucking fortune.
Yeah, it's like a house.
You know what I mean? Whereas now, you steal a $10 note off a guy, and that's not even a burger.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why crime's kind of moved on to like cyber stuff and.
Well, yeah, they want the stuff that can add zeros.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's a waste of your time. Otherwise, it's basically just a job
Yeah.
that you can be arrested for.
Yeah. Yeah. You ever get past like a counterfeit dollar?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
My favorite is you get people that would pass you counterfeit money, and then they'd act like, when you're like, I can't take this, they'd be like, that's legal tender. You have to take it. And I'll be like, it's not legal tender. This is very clearly. And they were like, how do you know? I'm like, well, first of all, I put it under the black light, and it's immediately not showing the thing. Secondly, it's like 3/4 the size of a bill.
Yeah. Yeah. There was this one time this lady tried to give me a fake buck, or it was like a fake 100, and I'm like, I marked it with the marker, and the marker like it stayed on as like dark brown. And the marker is supposed to like you put it and then like it disappears into like
Like if it's real.
yeah, if it's real.
Right.
But it was like dark brown, and I was like, and then I started feeling it, and I was like, this is like printed out off like printer paper, and I gave it back to her, and I'm like, I'm really sorry, I can't give this to you. And then like I saw like some of the worst acting ever. She's like, oh no, are you serious? I just got this dollar. I can't believe I've been scammed.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I know you're fucking up. Some of the worst acting I've ever seen ever. And she's like trying to pass it off like she's the victim.
I always loved the common line where they'd go, I just got this from the bank.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, oh, did you? Which bank?
Yeah. Yeah. East Bank.
Well, it's just like anybody can say words, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That doesn't like, oh, I got this from the bank, so that's how you know it's real. Okay, but you also just handed it to me,
Yeah.
which is the same level
Yeah.
of trust. You know what I mean? It's like we're right back where we started, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you're supposed to be like, oh, I'll take it off your hands then.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'll make sure that.
Oh,
I
the
get in
bank
trouble.
screwed up? Well, then me, the lowly food
Yeah.
basics employee, better fix the bank mistake.
I'll be left holding my dick in my hand.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. No, I got this from the bank, so it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people too would like try this thing where like I don't know, they'd like make up fake laws to like get free shit. They'd be like, I need water, and I'm like, oh, we have water bottles here, and they're like, okay, but I'm not paying for any water, and it's actually illegal to deny me water.
Oh,
I'm
right.
like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's not how anything.
I think it's
works.
illegal if you're at a restaurant and you're sitting down as a paying customer.
Even then, well, in America, to be clear, I don't know about Canada, but like in America, it's not illegal to deny people service of anything. Like you can deny them service into your building, you can deny them, but it can't be like over like racial protected lines.
Right.
But like, yeah, like you can refuse service for any reason, right? So if somebody doesn't want to, whatever, like if somebody just wants to come in and say, can I have some water and like with my meal, it's like you can just deny them everything. Yeah, and like people would really try that.
I wonder if somebody were truly dying,
Yeah.
could you be held responsible if you said no?
No, I don't think you have an obligation.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I think in Canada you probably do.
Yeah, it's very possible.
I don't know. But
I don't know about Samaritan laws.
A lot of the time, that seems to be the big difference between America and Canada is that America looks at it as like, no, there's no onus on you to help strangers.
Yeah.
Whereas in Canada, a lot of the time is more like, if you could have done something to stop a life from, or like to stop somebody from dying, and you don't, I think you can technically be charged.
Yeah. In America, it's like, I think it's like employment based. So like there's something called mandated reporters, right? If you're like a teacher and you see like child abuse happening, like you have to speak up,
Right.
you have to protect them. Like
Or a therapist or a
therapist,
doctor.
like EMT, even like certain, yeah, like all that shit. It's like you do have obligations in those senses. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
But I think normal people, they generally don't.
Right. Well, and also, you can be sued if you interfere
Yeah.
without permission.
Yeah. Oh, I saw this thing where there was like a shooting and the security guard, he dipped. He just fucking ran out.
Damn.
He ran out and that is like super illegal because he had an obligation to protect people. And
Right, like he pre-agreed to be the one to deal with that.
if something went down, he said he'd be the guy.
Right.
And it's like if he was a citizen, there'd be no harm, no foul. You run out, right? But since he had an obligation to stay there and like protect people and save people, then yeah.
And I'm sure there's also other laws involving surrounding that, but also just from a business perspective, it's like you failed to provide the service that we're paying you for.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So from a business, it's like now I'm taking you to court.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if you're a security guard who's protecting something from like being stolen or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now you're being taken to court because you failed to, like, your insurance premiums or whatever are fucked.
Yeah.
Anyway, security guards up here we don't have armed security in Canada.
Really?
I don't think so.
Not private?
No, I don't think you can have that.
In the private sector, you can't have like armed security?
No, because I don't think you're allowed to use a gun.
Oh, yeah. You
a
guys
pistol
have like
against people.
You guys have like weird self-defense gun laws. Well, weird to me.
I think for one, and again, I'm doing this all from memory. For one, I don't think anybody's just allowed. First of all, you're not allowed to walk around with a pistol.
Okay.
Period.
Yeah.
I don't know if that changes with private security, but as far as I know, in Canada, you can't.
All right.
Across the board. The only time you can have a pistol on you is when you're on your way to a driving range or on your way to somewhere that's like a legal place you're allowed to have your gun.
Yeah.
And even then, I'm told that you're supposed to like contact the police when you're moving your gun.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't move it, it's got to be in the fucking gun cabinet.
Right.
When it's not being used.
Yeah, I mean, we have laws like that too. Like, it has to be locked up. Your gun has to be locked up in some way, I think. Maybe pistols? I don't know. Maybe it's loaded guns?
I think it's also something to do with like you have to have them dismantled or something.
Yeah.
Or like the what do you call it? The drive pin?
No idea.
I don't know. I don't know guns well enough.
Yeah, I remember seeing this thing that said that like Canadians can't buy guns for self-defense reasons.
No.
Like,
You technically can't really have a weapon for self-defense in general unless you're using it to defend against an equal weapon. So, like, if you're carrying around a knife, for example, and a cop goes, "Why do you have this knife?" And you're like, "Oh, I just heard it's a rough neighborhood." You've just told him you're going to use it as a weapon, and now he can take it away.
whoa, yeah, like that's actually kind of nuts to me.
But if you just said, "Oh yeah, it's just my utility knife," now I can't take it.
That's so crazy. That is so crazy.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, you can't, because you're basically telling me you intend to use it as a weapon when the opportunity arises.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well,
and the opportunity hasn't arose.
but like,
So why would you know you need a knife for your first encounter?
well, you wouldn't know, but it would just be like a little insurance, like just in the weird chance that I'm in some self-defense situation. Like I think about it as like for people's houses. Like if I want to buy a gun just to have in my house, just in case somebody tries to break in, like in America, I think that's like totally fine.
That's pretty normal.
Yeah. And in like Canada, it's like, wait, you bought that to defend yourself in the case that something goes bad? Like, you're not allowed to have that gun.
I don't think you can use a gun in self-defense in your house.
What the fuck?
Unless, well, pardon me, and don't quote me, unless the person breaking in has a gun. You're allowed to use equal or lesser force. You're not allowed to use anything more than the person attacking you has.
I'm not going to wait for somebody to tell me they have a gun or not.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean?
I agree with you.
That's so crazy to me.
I'm going to do what needs to be done and then just deal with the fucking consequences. But, like,
Oh, yeah.
but that legally, technically, that's what it is. It's
I wonder
okay,
if it's
so
one of those things, it's like, it's on the books, but like, it's tried differently because they just don't want to open that envelope.
I don't know for a fact, but I'm sure there's some sort of special consideration. Like,
Sure,
like they'll probably be like, "What's the nuance of the case? Was the guy, did he have an itchy trigger finger, or did he truly have no other option?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Did it seem to be a violent break-in, and then was he like, holy shit, well, I guess I have a hunting rifle.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Yeah.
I just
That's-
happen to have the gun to deal with this, but if you're just a person who's like,
But it wasn't
"Yeah,
meant
I
for
own a
it."
gun and I don't even go hunting, I just own one,"
That's
and then
so
you
wild.
happen to be
Yeah.
involved in a shooting, even if it's in your house, yeah, you'll probably get.
I hope I'm not
get in
talking about
trouble.
out of my ass. I hope that I have that remembered correctly. Like I hope that. I
What, with
didn't
guns in the States?
Well, guns in Canada. Like, it sounds like you're corroborating it, but like.
Oh yeah. One of my relatives has their like restricted license, and they're not allowed to have the gun out of the cabinet, or if they're bringing it anywhere, it has to be locked in the car in its wherever case, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's like on the way to the range, you bring it to the range, you open it in the range, you close it in the range, you put it back in the car, you bring it back home. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know this for a fact, but you have to at least inform the police once in that trip that the gun is moving.
Jesus.
You can't just be like, if you get pulled over and they're like, "You have a gun on you," and you're like, "Yeah, but it's registered," they'll be like, "Okay, who knows that it's."
Did you tell us that you're?
Did you tell us you're moving it right now?
What? That's so crazy.
Yeah. And it pretty much comes down to them being like, "There's literally no reason for anyone to be shooting anybody."
Yeah.
I think is their stance on it.
Huh.
And so I think from their perspective also, they look at it as like you mentioned with the knife as a deterrent. The knife might be a deterrent, but it also could be an escalator. You pull out a knife, you got some fucking guy who is crazy enough to go, "Oh, you think you're gonna stab me? I've got a bigger knife," and now you got two people just throwing fucking knives at each other.
Yeah.
Like now you've escalated a problem.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just get your ass kicked, it's easier for them to deal with, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the right answer. I just think that's what the minding, or like the thought process behind it is.
No, I mean, I don't know. There are cultural differences for sure, and there's probably crime stats that back up, something here. I'm sure. it's
Yeah,
not
like it just makes
random.
more sense to not have an armed population or whatever.
Yeah, I can see that being the case. I feel like with America, we've already like the toothpaste is out of the tube. It's hard to go backwards.
Yeah, well, I also think Canada's starting to hit that stride as well. Like America's a lot further along in that problem. But I think Canada's at a point now where, because we've got all these stringent laws, criminals are making use of them. Because it's like those laws only affect people who aren't criminals.
Yeah.
Because if you're a criminal, you're going to break the law anyway. So now you have laws that basically stop people from defending themselves against criminals. while criminals continue to just break the law and hope they don't get caught.
Yeah, it's interesting.
There was a kid in Brampton recently, I think. Wasn't there a fucking break and enter in Brampton? And the kid, somebody got shot, or one of the people that broke and entered got shot by the homeowner. What the fuck happened there? No, I don't know enough about this.
Yeah. Well, just make it up.
Yeah, okay. So he got shot.
Yeah.
And then it turned out
And he's like, I'm not gonna die.
I'm not gonna die.
Yeah.
This is a scam city. Those aren't real bullets.
Yeah.
Those are bullets at $200 a piece.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the guy, the homeowner's wife came down naked.
And obviously the only way to get rid of her was to have sex with her.
Yes. Yeah. Brampton.
No, anyway, I'm pretty sure it was like some kid who was fucking. Just here's the most of the details I remember.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure because also we gotta wrap this up. Yeah, we gotta. I'm pretty sure it was like some kid was hanging out with some fucking stupid like gangster type.
Sorry, I'm gonna get my money's worth here. Okay. Hey, quiet down. Quiet down. Okay. Go ahead. Some kid.
Did you hear at the end of that where there's that?
Yeah. There's
They
a
really
mode in there.
they put some effort in that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm pretty sure it was like a kid who just like was hanging out with the wrong crowd, and then they just fucking broke. Like maybe he probably owed the wrong guy weed money or something.
Oh yeah.
But then they took it to the fucking next level, and they like home invaded the guy's family and shit.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I call.
What?
I don't know.
Oh.
That's what I call a fucked up situation.
Oh right. All right. I don't know. I think this is a wrap.
Yeah, I think so too.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Hey guys, join us next time. All right.
So that's the show.
That's the fucking show.
What if
baby.
What if we did a
What
thing?
did we learn?
What if we did a thing where we're both trying to do the outro at the same time?
Yeah, okay, let's do that.
All right.
All right.
So that's the show, guys.
What did we learn today?
Listen, if you liked what you saw,
I like
and
what
subscribe.
I'm seeing with this. This is a podcast,
and
course,
make
we're
sure
two
that
guys doing a
you
podcast.
write into the show if you got ideas
I hope
for
that
us.
Next time,
if you got
we
video
do a
segments you want us to
little
check
thing
out.
with
I'm
more
kinda-
Chinese jokes.
Listen,
is
I'm
what
doing a
hearing.
thing here.
Can I please
If-
talk
if-
to our fans? Please?
I'm pretty sure the
Can I
demographics are going to
please talk to our
show.
fans?
They're
Keith,
going to want to hear it from the left
Keith,
side of the.
back to you. You can have a chance to talk right after me, please.
Okay,
Right.
we're just gonna
Let's
put a
just
pause
please
on you for 2 minutes,
just
and then we're
not.
gonna get over this
Are we
side.
really going to fucking do this right now? Really? All right. That's it.